What do you do to train your log press and increase your shoulder strength?
Well, first you train log. Second, you increase your shoulder strength. Seriously, said it like a billion times.
And now you're never gonna have to say it again.
Yeah, I will. I'll get the same question tonight when we go to dinner, and then somebody will argue with me about my answer.
Well, you're obviously wrong.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's taken me a year and a half to break the American record. A year and a half total. What I do, and what I tell other people to do, the same thing. It's you work to heavy sets, and then you come back down and you do high reps. I don't do incline per se. I do military, seated military, heavy, and then high rep. You just beat the living crap out of your shoulders, and then you make them recover. And you just pump a bunch of blood in with a bunch of high reps. Your shoulders get bigger, and you get stronger. Then you go to a show, and you've got reps or you've got max. You're good to go either way. Obviously, when you're doing a log, it's hard to do both if you're cleaning it every time. So normally, since I haven't really had a lot of opportunities to do a log out of a rack, I work to a heavy set, and then I'll just back down to something I could strict press, for like a good at least 8 to 10, and then I'll do that, and then I'll try and give myself a minimal rest, and then I'll do it again. But really, there's no trick to it. You go heavy, and then you do reps. No trick.
So the key is just getting heavy work in and increasing overall volume.
Right. And it's like you're working your muscles one way, and then you work them the other way.
Yeah.
And so you're just completely fatigued.
And you can even increase the volume by just doing more work as you work up to a heavy set too.
You can. That's not what I do.
Right.
But you can do that. I like to be able to press. I feel like I like to be able to press a heavy number, and sometimes if you do too much before you get up there, especially at the beginning when you're first starting this type of training, if you do too many numbers before you get up to your heavy set, you're not as strong. Right now, doing reps doesn't bother me. That's why when you go to America's Strongest Man and you've got to do every weight that everyone else does, you don't get to skip something.
They're only 20-pound jumps.
Yeah, when you do that, it bothers a lot of people. It doesn't bother me, But at first, it's probably best to do low numbers and then come back down to do high numbers. And then when your shoulders are conditioned, then you can do it the other way.
Yeah, it just takes time building up your work capacity and your volume.
Exactly, yeah.
What are your favorite pressing assistance exercises, like actual flat bench, strict overhead?
I love bench. I love bench press. I feel it's really good for your chest and for your triceps, shoulders as well. A lot of people neglect is the upper back. We've talked about this before. Yeah. It's you've got to have a big upper back. You've got to be able to stabilize yourself. So I do a ton of upper back work, and I do the same thing. I don't just do that type of workout with my shoulders. I do that with my upper back. I do ridiculous reps and pump as much blood as I can into my upper back. My back's gotten huge over, I don't know, it's probably, I've been doing it with my back probably for like 6-7 months, and it's gotten way bigger.
Yeah.
So it's working, and I do. I don't know why everyone hates it, but I do shoulder raises for stability. You go online and everybody who sucks at pressing thinks the shoulder raises are ridiculous, but maybe that's why you suck at pressing.
Yeah. So that was the other thing is you're actually once you've done the heavier work, your log, your bench press, then you do tons of accessory work. Most people would consider bodybuilding style work. Like I know talking to you, you run the rack with with lateral raises and stuff like that. Like you'll start heavy and you'll just do them for 8 to 12 or whatever, and you'll just keep going down 10 at a time. Then you'll stop, do it again. You're just getting as much volume and trauma in there and getting all the blood and to just get your shoulders as big as possible.
Exactly, and it's also, it's a mentality, you know. To run the rack, it's hard as hell. You know, every single time I do it, it's hard. It's never been like, oh yeah, that wasn't bad. No, every single time you run a rack, it's brutal, man. You want to quit over and over, and when you get to that state of mind in your workouts, and you have that debate in your head, and part of you's like, okay, you can stop, and the other part of you says, fuck no, go. Mm-hmm. That's when you get strong.
Yeah. That
right there, that no matter what you're doing, if you're working and you're doing that, you're getting better. I don't care if you're doing push-ups or you're doing jumping jacks. If you get to that point and you say, no, I will not quit, you're getting better.
Yeah, you push past your comfort zone.
Exactly. And then you'll be able to do that in other things.
Yeah. And what do you start with when you're in the rack?
With lateral raises, nothing too crazy. The lateral raises, I try not to jerk too much. I try to be real straight and no swing. So I'll go to like 70, maybe 80 if I'm feeling good, and I try and control it as best I can. What I love to do running the rack is when I do a seated military press with dumbbells. I love running the rack with that. That, you know, you work up, and then you finish. I finish with whatever the heaviest dumbbell we have in the gym is. Then you run the rack down, and I always we do it to where you don't get to come out of the seat. So say you're my training partner. I'm sitting here and I've got whatever in my hand. I press them out, and I can only get 8. So I drop them immediately. You're handing me the next ones, and I'm back up. You know?
So you get no rest.
Exactly. And there'll be times when you can only get 2, and you got to drop back down, and that's your recovery. You know, it's not like you have to do a certain thing. What you have to do is beat the living piss out of yourself.
Yeah, the key is just getting more work in. It's not so much the weight or anything, really.
Truly, it's not the weight. And that's something that you can take in everything is it's not the weight. When I do bench, some days I'll just go to 3 plates, and that's literally nothing to me. Yeah. But I'll go to 3 plates, and I'll work my ass off with 3, and I'll do 3 sets of 20. And then I'll come back down, and I'll put a plate and maybe a 25 and 2 10s, and I'll do that as many times as I can. Rack it. Somebody will take the 10s off, unrack as many times as I can, and there's no work like that. It's irreplaceable in my style of lifting.
Right on. So now you know what he does, and stop bugging him.